to be supported even by international agencies to ensure that peace, mediation, and conflict prevention become major issues in the year 2017.
More concerns grow over need to secure southern Kaduna in northwest Nigeria as attacks by Fulani herdsmen on villages continue unabated. Many thanks for joining us this Monday morning. I am Ngozi Alebu.
Top of the morning to you. I'm Solami also coming up.
In continuation of the Nigerian auto policy, to say, let us achieve self-sufficiency in manufacture of vehicles in country. And part of it also is mandating the federal government to buy those vehicles.
Will the ban on importation of cars through land borders help local production of vehicles in Nigeria? What happens to the revenue from land borders? Those are questions we'll be asking our team of analysts this morning on TVC Breakfast.
Those enjoying undeserved advantages should not do anything to further make life more difficult for Nigerian workers.
Former NLC President Ayuba Waba there attempting to justify the need for a new minimum wage as Labour sets new dates to make their demand for 56,000 naira minimum wage known to the federal government.
And TVC Breakfast discussion begins in a moment. Busolami, good morning to you. We're talking about the issue of minimum wage, 18,000 naira as at 2011 under the former administration of Goodluck Jonathan. Of course, NLC and the TUC, Trade Union Congress, are asking for 56,000, but some are asking, are they not coming to the party too late? How much is 56,000 worth even in today's Nigeria?
Right, last night I was trying to get the inflation rate, what it was in 2015 when the new demand was made and what we have right now. So talking about purchasing power, really, will it make any difference? It's a big question, and I think our guests will do justice to that.
Yes, and we hope they can really do justice to that. Well, it's a full house this morning, and we're going to try as much as possible to do justice to this issue that has remained a basket case for Nigeria. It's our first big story, talking about Fulani herdsmen in recent attacks by Fulani herdsmen on villages in southern Kaduna in northwest Nigeria is still so much in the news.
Now there are growing concerns on how to secure that part of the state and also allow peace to return. Our correspondent today, Tessa Makande, gives us updates on the situation of things in Kaduna, southern Kaduna.
Houses and destroyed properties dot the landscape in this part of Nigeria, popularly called southern Kaduna. The people have been traumatized and rendered homeless. They have also lost loved ones. Marauding Fulani militia destroy properties and kill people in unprecedented numbers. But the narrative took a very worrisome dimension in 2013 when Manchok and other areas in the region were invaded, again by Fulani herdsmen. Several communities across Nigeria have similarly been attacked by suspected herdsmen. But there are several twists to the unrest that has persisted in southern Kaduna.
This is a pure case of banditry. These are bandits, they are criminals. Their ethnicity, their religion does not matter.
There are two critical issues: land and the discovery of nickel.
Who are the so-called herdsmen? Where do they come from? Why do they carry out these attacks? What are their desires? And why are they never caught? Nasir El-Rufai, who inherited the crisis as governor of the state, traced the crisis to the 2011 general election. He added that it's also a clear case of banditry.
We traced these nomadic pastoralists up to the Republic of Cameroon, in Bamenda to be precise, and they told us clearly Their leader told us clearly that his pastoralists and about 200 of his cows were killed.
They organized themselves and came back to revenge. That's their culture. You kill a Fulani man, they send the information from generation to generation until the account is settled.
But hell was let loose on him when he revealed to newsmen the steps taken by his government to address the situation. His critics say paying compensation to a people to stop unleashing mayhem was a step taken in error.
We got a group of people that were going around trying to trace some of these people in Cameroon, in Niger, and so on, and to say, look, there is a new governor. He is Fulani like you. He has no problem with paying compensation for lost lives or livestock.
They must be sincere to this issue of security. That will not only solve the problem of Southern Kaduna, it will solve the problem of insecurity in Nigeria.
This crisis will never end if you think you will go and revenge what happened to you. So we are appealing for all the parties to shed their swords and embrace peace.
There can only be peace if communities choose to live in peace. No amount of law enforcement, no amount of military presence can stop people that are determined to fight each other from fighting. You can only come after they are fought.
The Nigerian police has announced plans for the establishment of a squadron. That's about 700 mobile policemen to be stationed permanently in Kafanchan. This, among other policies of government it is hoped would lead to lasting peace in southern Kaduna. Tessem Akende, TVC News, Kafanchan.
All right, you heard the governor of Kaduna State there, El Rufai, saying nothing, no law enforcement can actually stop people from doing exactly what they want to do. Has law enforcement failed? That is the question as it pertains to the killings in southern Kaduna. Well, we have our guests in the studio, three of them, gentlemen, two security experts, and of course, one from the voice of Christian Matter. Let me start from my extreme left with the voice of Christian Matter Nigeria, Isaac Wusu. It's good to have you on the show this morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you.
And following him is Security Watch Africa Initiative, Patrick Agbambu, who is right closer to Busolami here, as a matter of fact. Good morning and thanks for joining us. And right in the middle is Shina Philips, security expert. Also, we'll be looking at this together on the show. Very quickly, gentlemen, before we go on our first break this morning, Patrick, let me start with you. When you hear Governor El Rufai say no amount of law enforcement and military presence and all of that can actually stop these killings from going on in Kaduna, southern Kaduna specifically, what should we make of that?
Yeah, I think the governor is right on spot. What he said is true. The people themselves must first agree to live in peace. Peace is something that you develop, so nobody enforces you to live in peace. Yes, there are measures that could be in place to check actions, but there are premeditated actions which security agencies will not know what you have in mind to do. I could walk up to somebody and kill the person before the security agencies take action on it. So the people must first of all agree to live in peace before there can be peace.
Well, in as much as I want to buttress what he's just said, but we'll look at it holistically. Okay. I think that in a way, the governor is the man I respect so much. However, I think that it's not too decent to think that no amount of peace can be enforced through the security agencies. For any group of people, for society, you need to first acknowledge the fact that these agencies are put in place to checkmate a whole lot of things. And then if you must coexist, in the concept of peace, you also must know that there are rules of law. There is rule of law, and you must respect the rule of the land. And so I think it is important that in as much as you want to embrace peace, you also need to respect the law of the land and allow the different security agencies to do their work.
All right, we'll allow Isaac weigh in on that when we come back from this short break. Just stay with us on TVC Breakfast. glad to have you back. It is still TVC Breakfast, and we are looking at the herdsmen Fulani killing going on in southern Kaduna. We have top-notch security expert with us in the house this morning. Patrick Agbambu is here. Shina Philips is very much here with us, and Isaac Wusu, who is a voice of Christian Matter. All right, just before we went on that short break, it was your turn to weigh in on what Governor El-Rufai said as to if there will be peace.
Well, many times it really doesn't take two to make a war. One is going with gun in his hand, killing, and the others are just helpless farmers in their farmlands. If you have looked at this happening all over the country, whether it's in Dugunawa, in Jos, we have 501 Christians who are killing one day. These are people, poor people, sleeping in the night. They don't even know what will happen to them. And suddenly we just see some strange people coming around, killing and shooting people. We need to see what is going on in Nigeria today. It's not the issue of two people, making war or fighting. Wherever you see this thing happening, you see it is the poor people. I just came back from southern Kaduna, doing a very light relief on behalf of our organization. And the question I ask myself is, why do these people, these poor people, deserve this kind of treatment?
So for you, the poor masses are at the receiving end of this Fulani herdsmen killings?
They are, actually.
Is that what your finding has been since you went to actually find out for yourself?
Actually, I asked myself why. Because I was in the terrain. I saw the kind of people, the farmers, they are very poor people who cannot even afford rice, a cup of rice to cook.
All right. As usual, we have a lot more to reel out to you in terms of information on what's been going on in southern Kaduna right now. To the war, let's give you a historical background of how we got to where we are today. Well, beginning from 2013, you had 63 deaths, and that's talking about southern Kaduna specifically. In 2014, that number went up exponentially to 229 deaths. Moving on now. In 2015, the clashes between local farmers and Fulani herdsmen took another dimension and became totally bloody after the herdsmen repeatedly attacked communities in Benue State, killing thousands and sacking communities. According to statistics provided by the Institute of Economics and Peace, 229 people were killed in 2014. That's up from 63 in 2013. And all of this carried out by Fulani herdsmen. Now in Benue State, which has been the worst hit of this deadly attacks dating back to 2012. That's, of course, the food basket of Nigeria. You can imagine how these killings have affected food in the country. Now, Benue State remains the hardest hit, like I already told you. In recent times, more than 100 farmers and their family members were reportedly massacred.
So you wonder why
in 3 local government areas of the state.
Talking about inflation in Nigeria, and one of the main factor of inflation has to do with a lack of food, insufficiency when it comes to food, and the food basket of the nation is consistently under attack.
Absolutely. Now remember, of course, in 2016, you had issues of lack of food, especially tomatoes and all of that. It's obvious that it really was affected in talking about agriculture. Now, in February, March and June 2016, more than 500 people were reportedly killed in different communities in Agatu local government area. Now, Benue State, 500 deaths, Enugu, 40 deaths, Delta, 24 deaths. And that's, if you look at this map, the concentration seems to be down south, whether it's from the middle belt point to all the way to Delta State, with its, southern part of the country. What does that indicate for us? Of course, I'd like our guests to weigh in at this point. Now, when you have this Fulani herdsmen, spreading out their tentacles all across Nigeria, which is what many people are saying already. And the real concern is, it seems the southern part of Nigeria is at the receiving end. Patrick, what exactly is going on?
Between 2010 and 2012, there were serious clashes between herdsmen and the farmers in Jigawa State. I was there with my team, and we related with the police there to find out. Then the Commissioner of Police in that state, Mr. Theophilus was the Commissioner of Police, and it was a big issue because people were being killed. Also, there were this fear, but they came up with a solution, their own solution, which is that these herdsmen, they need to take care of their cattle, and so they trample on crops of these farmers. The farmers retaliate. But to solve this problem, then the governor of the state, Lamido, Sule Lamido, set up a committee that worked on saying, okay, good, farmers, how much is a farm going to cost? How much will it be? Give us the value. Herdsmen, of course, most of the herdsmen are not the owners of these cattle. So, but how much? This is the amount the farmer wants for, so that if you go, you can trample on the crops or the farmland. Already the farmer had been paid.
Was that a good solution?
Good. That was not a good solution. Some of us then said this is not a good solution because the effect is that, yes, there won't be clashes, lives will not be lost, but there will be scarcity of food because there won't be crops, there won't be food for the people to eat. And they said when they get to that, they cross that bridge. First of all, they want to solve this problem. I know that some states in the northeast, northwest, adopted some of that with some modification. Katsina also adopted that, a bit of it, with some little modification. Just 2 days ago, we had the governor of Katsina State. They made some payments to some farmers because their crops were being trampled upon.
Okay.
Now
all right.
That is not a good solution.
Yes.
That is not a perfect solution to handle that issue. The perfect solution, as far as we are concerned, is to stop the marauding herdsmen.
And so is it not hypocritical of the government when they are talking about diversification? You're prompting the Greek or fronting a Greek, really. That's the problem. You want a Greek to take the center stage, and you're asking, okay, you can farm, just take money.
Good.
So who do you blame?
That was what I was saying, that was not a perfect solution. They need to sit down together and find out the solution to what is the situation. We had also gone on a study to find out why the drive of these herdsmen down from the far north down to the southern part. And some of them had said so many things that their grazing lands have been affected by modernization,
droughts, climate change, and all of that. Of course, we hear that that's part of the problems that led to the massive migration of these herdsmen to the southern part.
Why am I pointing out a very critical issue that is affecting that today now is the cattle rustlers. Most of those areas are being taken over by rustlers, people who can call bandits, criminals, who steals these cattle and go away.
All right,
so
we'll definitely come to that. Patrick, let's look further at what it's been like so far. Now, states attacked by herdsmen, if you look at the map there, like we noted earlier, all the way from Niger, Kaduna, Bauchi, Gombe, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, and way down south. Now, in April and June 2016, the killer herdsmen wreaked havoc in Delta State. More than 23 people were reportedly killed. Now, the police recovered 20 AK-47 rifles, 70 Dane guns, 30 double-barrel guns, and over 1,000 live ammunition from Fulani herdsmen during this period. And in April 2016, farmers in Lagelu local council area of Ibadan, your state, alleged that a group of Fulani armed men attacked their communities at night, injured a guard, and carted away valuables. Now, the question then is, how is it that this Fulani herdsmen are able to have so many weapons in their possession? Where do they get these weapons from? Shina, you want to weigh in on this?
Well, first, let me just say something with respect to what he said. First, on his visit, he noticed that he observed that the issue was the herdsmen against the poor people. I think it's not a class distinction thing.
Okay.
This is a real problem, and I think it's traceable. These people are not faceless, and with respect to the weapons they gather, I mean, we are in a society where it's almost, you get anything you want. But government has exactly what it takes to nip this in the bud. With proper intelligence, I don't think we'll have this marauding herdsmen, scattered across the country, and they are operating freely. I think that government needs to do proper strategic thinking with how to, with respect to gathering of intelligence, and then look, because
there must have been some level of gathering of intelligence, because the governor himself came out a couple of months ago and said that okay.
Are they invincible?
They are not invincible. We'll come back to that, and you answer that question for us, Philip, exactly. After this break. Stay with us, please. Glad to have you back. We are looking at the herdsman killing going on in Southern Kaduna. Patrick Agbambu is here with us, and Shina Philips, both of them security expert, and we have Isaac Wusu, who is of the Voice of Christian Matter. Philip, just before we went on break, we were talking about intelligence gathering, and I said the governor himself came out, that's the Kaduna State governor, said these people are not even Nigerians in the first instance, that they are foreigners. So there must have been some kind of intelligence there to even decipher if they are Nigerians or not.
Well, you just took us down history lane. And up to now, we just got this latest information, I suppose. I begin to wonder, if such intelligence have been gathered, how come we can't track them? And let's have some form of conviction. Because with the recent killing in Kaduna, of course we were there to see things for ourselves. And in the villages we asked, show us the farmlands. Let's see where these men are, because they said the herdsmen are somewhere in the farm, just where their farms are, and they can't even go there. So we said, okay, let us go there, because we went to the different villages, especially to Goska, right?
Yes.
Where this happened. And we have footages. We saw everything that happened. I said, okay, let's see where the herdsmen are. And we went to the neighboring village where the suspicion is that these Fulanis and these are the people responsible for this. And we said, okay, can we see these farms where these herdsmen, because they said they are there, they're almost like invincible, but you hear gunshots from the area. But can we go to the farm so that we can see for ourselves? Is it impossible for our government to get to the farm?
So what did you see then?
We couldn't. We've not been. We were
you didn't see any of them. Okay, so let me bring in Wusu
from where the killing took place. At least we went to all the villages, and we have on records exactly what happened beyond the escalation, beyond the exaggerated stories out there in the country.
You didn't see the perpetrators, but you saw the evidence.
We
saw
the
evidence,
victims, yes,
of what they had done. Let me bring in Wusu. Let me bring in Wusu. Sorry. Okay, yeah. Now, you are a Christian cleric based on this Voice of Christian Matter Nigeria that you belong to. There is a peace committee that's on ground right now in Kaduna State to see things for themselves, led by former head of state Abdul Salam Abubakar. You have Matthew Hassan Kuka on that team, and also the Sultan of Sokoto. Are you confident that their presence in Kaduna State will bring a permanent solution to this intractable problem, seemingly intractable?
No, Busola, I don't believe.
Well, the name is Ngozi.
Ngozi, forgive me. I really don't believe you can have any quick solution to this. Until the government take their hands off religion and face the governance. All this blah, 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 blah. This is a total agenda to wipe out some sect of people. Because That is my own opinion. I'm really sorry to the gentleman here. Because when you look at the situation in Southern Kaduna, I was there.
Yes, sir.
There are quite few Muslims around who lives in the same community with these people. The day we were doing our relief there was gunshot everywhere. People have to run away. We have to depend on the security men to provide security for us. How comes that when this thing happened, it happened to Christian communities? How comes that in this Southern Kaduna area we visited, there are Christian houses and there are Muslim houses, there are Muslims, they have their animals, nothing was touched, but it is only Christians.
But is it peculiar to Kaduna alone? Talking about this, your theory, is it peculiar to Kaduna alone? Benue is also
everywhere
affected.
I go, whether it's in Benue, whether it is in Taraba, whether it is in Plateau or in Adamawa, many times Christians are being focused on.
I wonder what the implications are if the general perception, at least to a very large extent, is that this is some kind of religious pogrom that's going on in not only in Southern Kaduna, but the other places that he's mentioned.
I quickly want to add into this because, you know, are we talking about Kafanshan? I mean, the recent killing. And you were there, sir. I'm a Christian. I saw things for myself. And I know what life looks like out there, especially in those villages. And it's sad for me, you know, when I come, I also trained as a journalist, and I believe in investigative journalism. And then going in there, because we saw so many things, a lot of pastors caught from outside Nigeria that day. A lot of killings going on in Southern Kaduna. And we decided on Security Watch Africa to go visit ourselves. And we did not just stop at the periphery. We went into the interiors, to the exact zones, and we know the number of houses that were burnt, and we have on record names of people killed. It was so strange to hear that 800 people killed, 1,000 houses burnt.
And that figure is coming from Can. NEMA says it's about 204
less than 200
people. But you know what, gentlemen? Let me quickly.
The reason I'm saying this is that we shouldn't reduce some kind of ethnic problem to religious problem.
Okay.
We are first a nation, a people. We are one entity, and it is. I mean, when you look at the Christian community and you look at, though it's secular society, but we are working towards one goal.
So what you're saying in essence, if I'm reading you right, is that this is, it has nothing to do with religion.
Yes, because we were there and we have footages.
Hopefully that's comforting enough, but let me quickly reel down some more information.
How many churches have been burned? How many mosques are burnt?
We'll come to that. Yes.
I asked him, how many mosques did he discover burnt?
So were you in Goska, sir?
I wasn't in Goska,
but that was the center of that was the center of the war. How many? Not one church. I saw one mosque burnt. I'm a Christian.
No, NEMA came out and said some churches were burnt.
In Goska?
In Goska,
not in recent crisis.
Not in recent crisis. Not in recent crisis.
We're talking about the recent one.
The security experts are saying that this has nothing to do with religion. And if it's anything to comfort Nigerians, especially the Christians, hopefully that will be one. Now, on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, armed Fulani herdsmen attacked and destroyed Goska village, killing, maiming and burning. Now, these attacks occurred in spite of the 24-hour curfew imposed by Kaduna state government. Fulani militia attacked, so many areas of that part of the country. Now, more than 800 people killed in Southern Kaduna, according to Christian Association of Nigeria. But you must bear in mind that the Emergency Management Agency of Nigeria, NEMA specifically, has said the figure is around 200, like we already mentioned to you earlier. Now, about 53 villages in Southern Kaduna lay in ruins after a series of attacks by Fulani herdsmen. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, and the leadership of the Catholic Diocese of Kafanchan in Kaduna State say more than 800 people have lost their lives to this unfortunate incident. Now, farm produce estimated at 5.5 billion naira have also been destroyed. A total of 1,422 houses and 16 churches were also burnt during the attacks.
A recent figure from NEMA, really.
Yes, that's what NEMA is telling us. Yes. But who better to rely on for the figures really at the end of the day. Now, January the 8th, 2017 was another week of killings in southern Kaduna and Delta State. 7 persons were reportedly killed, and Fulani herdsmen in the states, 2 in southern Kaduna and 5 in Delta State. Both attacks carried out on January the 8th, 2016. Is it 2016? Am I sure of that? So, gentlemen, you insist that this has nothing to do with religion,
yes,
or even ethnicity.
Yeah, I think
we draw any inference from
now,
what you've said?
when people come out with figures, we need to know the timeline. What time these figures, the number that is being said that were being killed. Certainly not this recent crisis that happened on the 24th and the 25th. Certainly
December.
not that. Yes. December. Because if that, this is the document from the people of Goska community. They gave to us about the houses that were burned, the people that were killed, and the people that were being declared missing. This was given by the community leaders. We met the head of the chiefdom of Barking Kogi, who is in charge of the whole area. He told us on tape that this is not, what is happening is not a religious issue.
Okay.
It's been on. We met the district head of Dangoma, who is the Muslim part of it, because we had to go to both ends. And he said, it's as far as they're concerned.
If you listen to what we had earlier on, Governor El-Rufai said, okay, it might not be religious crisis, but it has to do with some kind of reprisal attack, some kind of revenge.
That's what I'm coming to, because based on the facts, based on what some of the things these people, the community told us, and we have them on tape. It's not somebody saying, and they can be played for the whole world to hear. We got to Goska. The district head of Goska also told us the same thing. It's not religious, but that it has to do with the issue of farmland and people wanting to take over farmland. That they have Fulanis who live within them in their farm area, who had now imported their brothers from other places to come and stay with them.
And that has been the fear that many of the people have expressed, that over time there is a possibility that these people will overrun us and take over our land.
That is
okay, so what can you tell us about plans to actually rehabilitate the people, whether it is the Fulani herdsmen themselves who have lost cattle in the course of all of this, and more importantly, the farmers whose farmlands have been lost over time?
Well, that's why we appreciate the initiative taken by government to bring about peace, so that they can actually look at the root cause of this problem and find a way at solving it. However, I also would appreciate if some of this footage is so that, because we have it on tape, and the entire world can hear the heads, they can hear the district heads, the king of that area, and some footages of that environment where it happened, and let's see what life looks like out there.
Okay, we'll have to go on a very quick break, and when we return, we'll look more into these issues. Stay with us. You're welcome back. News just reaching us right now says that twin bomb blasts have gone off at the University of Maiduguri. Killings cause of people. We don't have specific figures as to that right now, but it happened in the early hours of this morning. Of course, before the day runs out, we'll give you more information on that twin bomb blasts at the University of Maiduguri in Borno State. Well, we're talking about the southern Kaduna killings this morning, and our guests in the studio, Patrick Agbambu, security expert. Shina Philips is a security expert also, and we have a member from the Voice of Christian Matter Nigeria, Isaac Wusu, who is with us this morning. Let me start with you. Yes. You have heard from the security experts. They're saying that these killings have nothing to do with religion. it has to do with a finite, what's that word? Something that is finite, land. The herdsmen are looking for grazing land, and it doesn't matter where they'll find it, as long as it's along their path. Anybody who tries to stop them will be targeted. That seems to be what is going on. But are you convinced, beyond all doubt, that this has nothing to do with a religion?
As much as I respect their view, but I seem to disagree. Because you have to ask yourself, who is taking arms against who? Chicago have said, this is not just a war. It is a war against unbelievers and all infidels. At the beginning of all this thing, if you will see in Maiduguri there, it was Christians that were being attacked. Bombs are being thrown into churches until they now began to attack.
Men are looking for grazing land, and it doesn't matter where they'll find it, as long as it's along their path. Anybody who tries to stop them will be targeted. That seems to be what is going on. But are you convinced, beyond all doubt, that this has nothing to do with a religion?
As much as I respect their view, but I seem to disagree. Because you have to ask yourself, who is taking arms against who? Chicago have said, this is not just a war. It is a war against unbelievers and all infidels. At the beginning of all this thing, if you will see in Maiduguri there, it was Christians that were being attacked. Bombs are being thrown into churches until they now began to attack their own fellow Muslim men. I don't want to deceive myself. I know that when you look at the whole world today, whether it's in Syria, whether it's in Palestine, whether it's in Somalia, yeah, we know this group of jihadis are fighting against all kinds of Western ideologies and against whatever they think, you know, it's what we consider to be the right way of living. I believe seriously that this war, it is a war one day. We might not really want to believe in this thing until when our families are touched. I couldn't imagine myself.
So, but the best can as advice is for Khan to organize a day of mourning. Is that effective enough?
Well,
if this your theory is tenable?
I think we need to do more. We need to really face the government. To me, I believe that by now, Christian churches in Nigeria should come out and organize a big protest and to tell the government, enough is enough. You see, when you go to all these villages, I believe my gentlemen are security experts. I am not. But everywhere else I have gone for these past 20 years. Because you see, what is happening is just not happening today. I grew up to know what you call herdsmen.
We all did, mostly.
They are not people that carry guns. So when you see the people behind these animals, they are just young people. There are some powerful people behind it.
Sorry, what has happened? I see that you disagree with him when he insisted that.
Well, first, I want to state out that in 2011, like I said, Jigawa State is predominantly Muslims. Katsina is predominantly Muslims, but they are also being killed.
And they were also targeted.
So what was happening then? So if it was happening then, killing Muslims, these herdsmen were killing the same Muslims. Were they Christians killing Muslims? No. So if they're coming down south, it's something that has been happening. So down south you have Christians, like they have killed Muslims. So we should look beyond.
So it's only logical that Christians will be mostly affected.
Beyond the issue about is Christian with Muslims killing the Christians. Then when he talked about the Maiduguri and the Shakal talking about, you see, up until Boko Haram issue got escalated, many people still talk about it against, when you talk about unbelievers. This Boko Haram set believes that even Muslims who do not believe in their own doctrine are unbelievers. We were there, until I brought it to the public through my television program, people were still saying that, look, it was only Christians that were being killed. In 2010, I was there even when Mohammed Yusuf was being killed in Maiduguri.
Yes, okay, now,
So
many analysts like yourself have actually blamed government for not doing enough.
Good.
And allowing this to go beyond or to escalate,
Yes.
as it were. Shina, how would you assess government's intervention?
Well, I think we're always too late to respond to issues in this country. And that's really that's the problem. We are not proactive enough to tackle issues before they really escalate. This problem has been on for a very long time. At some point, yes, we had religious problems. And now, but for me first, but I'll come to that, but with this recent killing in Kaduna, it's truly not religious from our findings. Not. But then with government intervention, I think government should be swift, quick to respond to issues. Once you feel the pulse, you can feel the people are gathering, and they're making treasonable statements. Statement that can incite the public. You want to quickly investigate the group. You want to know what they're about in order to, completely disengage them from carrying out any act. I think that government delayed. I think that government should respond quickly and find a way of solving these problems before they get out of hand.
Okay, the way the picture you're painting and the picture he is painting, there's some kind of disconnect. He's trying to tell us the enormity of the problem, or perhaps the nitty-gritty of the problems, and you're looking at the summation of the whole problem. But some other groups to have a divergent view, groups like SERAP, who has now invited United Nations to step in and investigate.
So he thinks this is okay.
First and foremost,
hold on, sir. He'll come back.
I would like most people to go to the theater where issues are happening and see for yourself. You don't depend on what people say. Some people make comments, make statements based on what they had people say or what some media go, especially social media, that can upload a lot of stories that are not real. People need to go down and see what.
But he's
situation.
been there.
That's what I'm
Where
saying.
in particular?
Now, it depends on where you go to. I could decide to depend on your mindset. I depend on your people, what you want to feed the people or the people you want to talk to. You can interpret issues different angles. But what we're trying to say is that, like he pointed out, the government needs to be proactive in issues of when issues are coming up before it gets escalated. Boko Haram became a big problem because government didn't act well. The herdsmen are becoming a bigger problem now because actions have not been taken. But I'm glad that some action is being taken right now from Kaduna State, because
of course, we hear from the Kaduna State governor that the mastermind behind this killing has actually been arrested.
There are some forests where some of these herdsmen are staying, that for over 6-8 years, nobody has been able to step in there. No security agencies have stepped in there.
All right.
They have been able to
Isaac
bring that
has
out.
something to say.
I don't know. When you say people are arrested, how many people, even the Boko Haram men, have been put on trial? While I was in Kaduna, I picked up a young girl. Her name is Eunice. Her mother was killed, and they poured gunpowder on her body. And we have to rescue this girl and bring her to our home to join over 300 children that we have rescued. These over 300 children across Nigeria, they are Christian children.
All right, sorry, we don't really have enough time. What would be your recommendation going forward for this problem to be solved permanently?
Well, I just think religion is behind this. Okay. Government should take their hands off religion.
Okay.
Let people of religion handle religion.
All right.
And government should face governance. All these things happening in the country, I mean, just ask yourself. We should not be confused. Okay. El-Rufai kind of personality should not be strange to anybody. If you look at his antecedent about his comments about Christianity in the past, I think I don't see any way forward until the government will stand up and hand up.
I wonder if we have enough time to take your...
If it says government should stay off
just 10
religion,
seconds.
Religion too should stay off government.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they should stay off politics. Religion should stay off politics, and politics should be run by government.
All right, you've heard it from the gentleman right here in the studio, Patrick Agbambu, security expert. Thank you so much for being with us. I wonder if we've been able to scratch the surface, really. Shina Philips is also a security expert. Thank you so much for joining us. And Isaac Wusu, voice of Christian Matter Nigeria. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show. We hope that in the nearest future there will be permanent solution to this.
Thank you for coming.